सर मैंने गूगल टैब ही बंद कर दिया इसलिए लीव हो गई क्लास।
कोई मसला नहीं, तुम दोबारा ज्वाइन कर लो।
मैं कह रहा था मुजम्मिल मुझे मैसेज कर रहा था, उसको पता करना है एक बंदे का, बिलाल रजिस्ट्रेशन में पढ़ता है।
ओके ओके, अच्छा अभी हम लोग स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं। बेसिकली दिस इज योर यूनिट नंबर 1, ठीक है। इट इज यूनिट नंबर 1। Unit number 1 is basically sort of complete unit from which you will be assessed, और इसको हम लोग नाम देते हैं मोशन एंड मटेरियल का, ठीक है। मोशन एंड मटेरियल। Actually this, it means that this is divided into two parts. One is considered as motion and the second one is classified as materials. So what are the topics which are included in your motion? They are the fundamental of kinematics, okay. The second one is your dynamics. I will talk about the dynamics में basically हम further division क्या करेंगे. And the third one is your momentum, which is a kinematics or dynamics paper, dynamics content. Then we have to talk about the moments. That is why I love to talk this के यार ये motion and force है, ये अकेला motion नहीं है, ठीक है. This is force and motion, right? And then right after that, yani these four topics are there, and along with that there is one more topic which is basically your work energy or power type questions are there, which is related to energy and power, ठीक है. Right after that आपके पास जो वो है मटेरियल है, in the material we will talk about pressure, density, okay. Pressure, density. Then the next will be Ali. Density के बाद आपके पास क्या आ जाता है? That is elastic properties of the material. Okay. These all are basically that topic जिसमें हम लोग मटेरियल की बात करेंगे. स्ट्रेस, स्ट्रेन, अपथ्रस्ट, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. ठीक है जी, ये बात क्लियर होगी. तो इट मींस के देयर आर बेसिकली 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 or 9 चैप्टर्स इन दिस ऑल यूनिट्स जो आप लोगों ने डिस्कस करने हैं, ठीक है. मैं आपको एक दफा वो भी दिखा दूंगा. इट्स द स्पेसिफिकेशन देखना आपके लिए जरूरी है, बिकॉज वंस यू आर डन विद द स्पेसिफिकेशंस एंड यू आर विद द स्पेसिफिकेशंस, आपको ये आइडिया हो जाता है कि यस हमारा सारे का सारा काम इसके अंदर ही रह के करना है हम लोगों ने, हम इसके मुताबिक लेके चलेंगे. सो स्पेसिफिकेशन मैंने आपको आई थिंक ग्रुप में भेजी थी कि नहीं?
यस सर,
भेजी है ना, बुक्स एंड स्पेसिफिकेशन. सो लेट्स से अगर हम लोग स्पेसिफिकेशंस को ओपन करते हैं, सो यस या दे आर देयर. ठीक है, these are the specifications and ये आप लोगों को डेफिनेटली यू हैव टू गो थ्रू बाय दिस स्पेसिफिकेशन. इसके बगैर आप लोग नहीं जा सकते, क्योंकि यूनिट नंबर 1 की जो असेसमेंट वगैरह है ये सारे का सारा, खैर ये तो मैं आप लोगों को बता चुका हूँ कि आप लोगों का पेपर कितने कितने टाइम का होना है, क्या क्या उसकी ग्रेडेड वेटेज है. बट द नेक्स्ट इज जो इम्पोर्टेंट चीज आप लोगों ने याद रखनी है वो है आपके यूनिट्स के कंटेंट्स, ठीक है. मैकेनिक्स एंड मटेरियल्स में या फोर्स, मोशन एंड मटेरियल्स में हमारे पास जो मेजर एरियाज हैं, विच आर दोज एरियाज, या दिस इज व्हाट This is the main part in the mechanics. ठीक है, in the mechanics definitely what we are talking with के मैंने आपके साथ ये सारी चीजें शेयर कर दी और one by one हम लोग डिस्कशन करेंगे. We will be talking about the equations of motion, then we will be talking about the graphs, ठीक है, and then we will be analyzing the graphs, calculating the values from the graphs. इसमें हमारे पास acceleration होगा, displacement होगा, distance होगा, ये सारी ग्राफ की कैलकुलेशंस हैं सारे की सारे. Then we will talk about the vectors and scalar nature of the forces. Resolving of the force, ये सारा force में dynamics में ये चीज आ जाएगी. Resultant force के बारे में हम लोग डिस्कशन करेंगे. Then we will talk about the projectile motion in the kinematics. फिर हमारे पास हम लोग डिस्कशन करेंगे free body diagram of the forces. Then we will discuss about the sum of the forces, यानी न्यूटन्स लॉज हम लोग कह सकते हैं इसको ना, न्यूटन्स फर्स्ट लॉ, सेकंड लॉ एंड थर्ड लॉ. Then we will talk about the weight. This all is basically related to your mechanics and motion. और फिर हम लोग चले जाएंगे न्यूटन्स थर्ड लॉ ऑफ मोशन पे. देन हम लोग मोमेंटम पे चले जाएंगे. मैंने आपको इसीलिए ये सारी चीजें ऐसे वाइड ब्रॉडबैंड में बता दी कि these are the 8 main topics which deals all these topics. Then we will talk about the principle of momentum and conservation of momentum, etc., etc. And after that, you will talk about the moments and equilibrium. Then we will talk about the work power and energy, kinetic energy, potential energy, etc., etc. Power के ऊपर discussion करेंगे, efficiency के ऊपर discussion करेंगे. This all will be discussed in your work energy and power topic. Then this is the material, and material में आप लोगों को क्या क्या पता होना चाहिए. You have to talk about the density. You have to talk about the the fluid dynamics with upthrust. ये सारे का सारा मैंने अपथ्रस्ट के ऊपर डिस्कशन किया था. प्रेशर एंड अपथ्रस्ट का ये टॉपिक है, ठीक है. स्टोक्स लॉ एंड सो ऑन. देन यू हैव टू टॉक अबाउट द हुक्स लॉ, आई मीन इलास्टिक प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ मटेरियल पे मैं बात कर रहा था, स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ, ठीक है. ये सारे का सारा आपका हो जाएगा. एंड इट मींस देयर आर 32 main topics what we have to discuss. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
There are main 32 topics. मतलब आप यूं समझ लो कि we have to discuss all these 32 topics, then our unit number 1 would be done. ठीक है. So moving back to my point is, if you people have any question related to this or related to this division, you people can ask me. Clear है?
No, sir.
So ये मैंने
Yes, sir.
सारा 8 टॉपिक्स को अब यूं समझ लो कि it is 6, 7 and then 8. So these 8 topics are then further divided into subtopics, जो मैंने आपको इसमें दिखा दिया कि इसमें स्पेसिफिकेशन में. So any confusion in this point?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if we move on, the situation is directly related to the kinematics. मैं थोड़ा सा kinematics से पहले एक छोटा सा टॉपिक डिस्कस करना चाहूंगा. That is your vectors and scalars, and then I will be back on the kinematics, because once I have to divide my velocities when I will be dealing with the 2-dimensional motion. I have to resolve my velocity into components, और उसके लिए मुझे vectors and scalars का concept देना आपके लिए जरूरी है. So once we talk about the vectors, the basic definition of the vectors क्या है? Can anybody tell me?
Qualities
Okay,
that have-
first let me write the scalars. Okay, sorry. पहले scalars लिख लेते हैं, because scalars are shortly described. The scalars are those quantities which only need what? They need only
Magnitude
magnitude,
and direction.
No, and unit, no direction. ठीक है, and unit. So they do not need any direction, not direction. For example, if you are asking sort of mass from any person, okay, how much mass do we have? So that means we will have a 5 kg mass. It does not need to describe ke, yeah, it is towards east, it is towards west, it is at this angle, etc., etc. No, nothing. So those quantities which are completely described by magnitude and unit only, they are called your scalar quantities. They are simply added, yani they are dealt just like numbers, right? So they are treated just like numbers. Are you getting my point? They are treated like numbers. Yani you are not supposed to use any vector rules, no need, etc., etc. So is there any confusion in that one? You can simply say they are added, subtracted, divided, and multiplied, just like numbers. ठीक है? So इसमें आपको कंफ्यूज होने की जरूरत नहीं है. Now the game starts from vectors. So once we are talking about the vectors, actually, Umair, vectors, they need three things. What are those three? Magnitude. Without magnitude, you cannot describe any physical quantity, either it is vector or scalar. Secondly,
Direction.
direction. Okay, sorry, direction. Direction में end पे लिखना चाहूंगा. The second one is the unit, and the third is the direction, which
So
basically different.
what is unit?
Unit means, for example, you think if force is 12 Newton towards right. Okay, so basically here the force is a physical quantity whose magnitude is 12 newtons and its direction is towards left, towards right. Is it clear to you? So
Got it.
unit का मतलब ये होता है. This is unit. Okay,
Okay, sir.
are you getting my point? So unit is mandatory, for any sort of physical quantities. अब vectors को add करने के लिए we need some vector rules. That is important. So vector rules are there. This is the point जहाँ से अभी हमारा physics evolve हो रहा है. And then I will go back to the kinematics, and inshallah then these all will be very clear to you. So vector rules आप लोग discuss कर लेते हैं आज के lesson में. Those are, what are the vector rules? The vector rules are very simple. Once you can add the vectors, add it with sign. Simple. इसमें मैंने बहुत simple कर दिया है. You can add the vectors with signs. So vector can be positive, vector can be negative. So two vectors in the same direction, they are considered to be the positive vectors. Yani, if let's say this is your 1, 2, 3, 30 Newton force, and suppose this is your 20 Newton force, then overall vector will be, what would be the resultant of these these two?
15.
3 plus 2. Okay, so this is your 50 Newton force. Am I right? But
Yes, sir.
if you will have a force of 30 Newton in this direction, okay, and you have a force of 20 Newton in this direction, so it would be considered as negative of vector. So that is why, what will we do? We will subtract them. I mean, basically we will add them. मैंने यहाँ पर भी add किया है. How did I do that? It is 30 plus 20. So that is the resultant. But if I do the same procedure here, 50 plus negative of 20. Sorry, 30 plus negative of 20. मैंने add ही किया ना basically,
Yes, sir.
right? But with signs. So that is why what I get
Plus 10.
10 Newton. That is basically the difference of these two. तो अब आपकी resultant force क्या हो जाएगी? That would be just this one. Now you got my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Every vector has a resultant, a negative of vector. So both two vectors in of equal magnitude but opposite in direction are called negative vector. For example, if it is vector A, then this vector will be called negative of A. So that is why आप लोगों ने याद रखना है कि once we are adding the vectors, in case of, for example, I will give you a simple example of the vectors. Let's say you have a vector in this direction. This is your vector x, and you have a vector in this direction. This is, let's say, your vector y, and you want to find the resultant, and let's say z is a vector which is x plus y. So how will you add them? The vectors are simply added by head to tail, right? How do we join the vectors? The vectors are joined by head to tail, right? Will you remember this rule?
Yes.
So vectors are added by, we call it tip to tail, okay? We call it head to tail. That means this is tail of a vector, this is head of a vector, this is tail of the second vector, this is head of the second vector. So keeping all the vectors in the same direction, for example, x is in this direction, so your x will be in the same direction with the same magnitude in this direction. Ye dekho, now this is x, right? And y would be added on the head of this. So y is of 3 units long this way. So this is your y. But resultant is, this is very important, that resultant vector is starting from the tail of first to the head of last. उमर ये बात याद रखनी है, जो आपका रिजल्टेंट है ना, रिजल्टेंट की डायरेक्शन क्या होगी? रिजल्टेंट डायरेक्शन इज, यस, फ्रॉम tail of 1 to the head of last, whatever that is. 2, 3, 4 vectors आप कर सकते हो. So it means if I join these two vectors, this is my resultant, this is my resultant. You got the points?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear to you? Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Clear.
Clear.
हाँ भाई, उमर and Fatima, is it clear?
Yes, clear, sir.
हेलो सर, आपने ये हटा दिया. हेलो, एक मिनट लगाओ इसे. कुछ नहीं लगा हुआ, चार्जिंग एंड एवरीथिंग इज रिमूव. वहां लगाओ पीछे. शहजादे हो यार तुम लोग, लगाओ वापस. क्लासेस ना डिस्टर्ब किया करो, इट्स रियली बैड. आपको अगर मैं नहीं तंग करता तो आप भी ना तंग किया करो मुझे, ठीक है? ये गिव एंड टेक है, सीधा सीधा. इसका चार्जर भी लगाओ, इट इज गोइंग टू डाई नाउ. चार्जिंग लगाओ इसका. आप लोगों को आवाज आ रही है? सॉरी, बीच में मेरा हाल है कहीं इन्होंने स्पीकर ऑफ कर दिया था. आप लोगों को आवाज आ रही है मेरी?
जी सर, आवाज आ रही है.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is this clear to everyone till this point?
Yes, sir. Clear.
हाँ?
Clear, sir.
Clear.
ओके, अब मोस्टली जो हमारा क्वेश्चन है ना, चार्जिंग लगाओ. मोस्टली हमारे क्वेश्चन में ना डायरेक्शंस रिवर्स हो जाती है. फॉर एग्जांपल, फॉर द सेम क्वेश्चन आई एम गिविंग यू टू वेक्टर्स. दोस टू वेक्टर्स आर इन दिस डायरेक्शन, इन दिस वे. दिस इज योर वेक्टर x एंड दिस इज योर वेक्टर y. Okay, and you are asked to draw vector r which is equals to y minus x. Yes, now what you do, simply आपने y को अपनी डायरेक्शन में ही रखना है, right? Its solution is very simple, that is you have to keep the y in the same direction, but x would be drawn on the head of this in opposite direction. अब आपका x इधर आ जाएगा. You got this point? This is your negative of x with sign मैंने बोला था. So this is your y. So now your r will be, resultant would be starting from the tail of first to the head of last. This is your resultant vector. Now you got the point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So जब भी आपके पास vectors का कुछ concept आए, it is a basic theme, basic concept of the vectors. The vectors are added by head to tail, and then we deal these vectors in different situations. For example, there are several questions which are related to these vectors. Let's say the velocity of the river is in this direction. Suppose that is 18 meter per second. This is the velocity of the river. There is a river flow, and that river flow is in this direction, and a swimmer is there. This is basically the velocity of the water current. This is a sort of question that this is the velocity of the water current, and a swimmer wants to enter this water from this point, and the velocity of this swimmer by which it jumps into the water, that is, let's say, 4 sorry, that is, let's say, 6 meters per second. Okay, is this question clear to you? Is this scenario clear to you?
Yes.
Calculate the resultant velocity of swimmer and direction with respect to its original direction of motion. Right, above देखो, there are two options. Either you will be asked to draw a scale diagram, or you will be solving that simply. Scale diagram में the length of the vector shows the magnitude. Length of vector क्या होता है आपका? That is equal to, or that represents, magnitude. Okay, that is very important. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि I have to set a scale. The scale is simple, that is 1 centimeter can be equal to, let's say I have this vector 18 meter per second long, तो इसका मतलब मुझे 18 meter per second पे जाना पड़ेगा. So once I am moving at 18 meter per second, it means that maybe I would be able to draw 1 centimeter is equals to 3 meters per second. Is it? So due to this scale, your 18 meter per second किसके बराबर हो जाएगा? Your 18 meter per second will be equals to 6 centimeters, and your 6 meter per second speed कितना हो जाएगा? It would be represented into 2 centimeters. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now you will draw that on the right, at the proper angles. This is called your vector diagram. Okay, it will help you out to understand the concept of free body diagram. ये भी उसी में आ जाएगा. Once I will be dealing with the forces, I would talk about this topic again. That is the free body diagram. Free body diagram में आपने क्या किया? You just spotted this point. Okay, this is the point basically. I think so. Okay, मुझे यहाँ draw कर लेना चाहिए because I have 6 centimeter vector over here. So I would be starting right from this point, and let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 centimeter at the top. This is the velocity of the swimmer, 18 meter per second. And what is the velocity of this? Sorry, नहीं, velocity of the swimmer नहीं थी, sorry ये. This was the velocity of the water like this. इसको मुझे इधर लेके आना पड़ेगा फिर. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 centimeters. ये हो गया. Now, what was the velocity of that swimmer? Now we are representing that into two scales. 2 centimeter हो गया. ठीक है? ये बात clear है? Now this is basically your 6 meter per second, and this is your 18 meter per second. अब देखो आप लोगों ने करना क्या है? You have to draw a replica of this 6 meter per second on the head of this red one. That's it. This is what? This is again your 6 meter per second speed. अब आप लोग simply, this is your 6 meters per second. Now what would be the resultant? The resultant is starting from the tail of first to the head of last, and I would measure that length. ये देखो, this is your resultant vector, right? Now this resultant vector is how much long? आप calculations कर सकते हो. Although I don't have the measuring tool here, maybe it would be, इसमें नहीं होगा शायद. measurement tool नहीं है इसमें. Okay, but you can calculate that. Calculator है किसी के पास?
जी सर है.
Okay, मैं calculations करके एक चीज करता हूँ. 6 square plus 18 square, that is, and square root of answer, that is yeah 18.9, almost 19. ठीक है, so that is almost 19. This one is how much? 19 meter per second. And how did I calculate? आपने सबसे पहले क्या करना है? You have to measure the length. 1 meter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So almost it would be equal to, this resultant velocity is equals to 6 centimeter times 3. तो इट वुड बी ऑलमोस्ट 18 मीटर पर सेकंड. आपका ग्राफ क्या बता रहा है आपको? 18 सेंटीमीटर पर 18 मीटर पर सेकंड. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज, यू पीपल आर नॉट दैट स्कूल किड्स के आपको यहाँ ग्राफिकल मेथड से ही कैलकुलेट कराना पड़े. आई कैन यूज द पाइथागोरस थ्योरम, दैट इज द रिजल्टेंट स्क्वायर इज इक्वल्स टू 18 स्क्वायर प्लस 6 स्क्वायर स्क्वायर रूट, एंड सॉरी ये स्क्वायर हटा देते हैं फिर. दैट मीन्स कि अब आप लोग इसको कैलकुलेट करोगे एंड यू विल फाइंड द वैल्यू ऑफ 18.6 मीटर पर सेकंड. ठीक है, दैट इज द डायरेक्ट सोल्यूशन. ठीक है जी,
Yes, sir.
इज दिस क्लियर टू एवरीवन?
Yes, sir.
सर it's
तो आप
18.9.
सॉरी कितना?
It's
18.9.
18.97.
ओके 18.97, तो 18.9. ओके 18.9, sorry man, 18.97, तो
Oh,
it is
you can just start
19
19.0.
मीटर पर सेकंड, है ना? 19.0 हो गया हमारा. So this is how, and what, how will you find the direction in that case? Yes, direction is equals to the angle, that is equals to tan inverse your y divided by x. Because if I think, or if I tell you that this is basically the y axis of your right angle triangle and this is the x axis of the right angle triangle, then it would be simply y divided by x. तो ये कितना हो जाएगा? tan inverse of 6 divided by 18. Yes, उमर मुझे बताइए.
18.4 sir.
How much? 18 point
18.4.
degrees. ठीक है, 18.4 आपका ये एंगल आ जाएगा. Is it clear? It means this is the angle at which the new resultant velocity is. ठीक है, तो आपका जो drift आया, how much drift it has? It has with vertical, मैंने original direction पूछा था ना, this one. So this is my required angle. 19 minus 18.4. Sorry, 90 minus 18.4. तो कितना आंसर आएगा? आप इसको 18 ही कर लो roughly.
72
Yes.
sir.
70?
2.
Yes. So it means that this swimmer has been drifted to 72 degrees. इधर उसको ले गया water. ठीक है?
सर ये डूब तो नहीं गया?
नहीं, डूबा तो नहीं है, लेकिन ये बस सीधा ही हो रहा है, ये देखो।
अच्छा
ठीक है, सो देर आर सो मेनी क्वेश्चंस जिसमें आप लोगों को ये कॉन्सेप्ट डिलीवर किया जा सकता है। आई विल ट्राई माय बेस्ट टू अकोमोडेट अ वर्कशीट फॉर यू विच विल बी बेस्ड ओनली ऑन द वेक्टर्स। तो उससे आपको काफी सारी चीजें क्लियर हो जाएंगी एंड यू विल गेट हेल्प फ्रॉम दैट।
सर, can you scroll
देन
up
वी
for
विल,
1 minute? I want to check the formula for direction again.
सॉरी दोबारा बोलें।
सर, I was saying scroll up, डायरेक्शन की फॉर्मूला देखना।
ओके ओके ओके, ये लीजिए।
ओके सर।
ओके, नाउ ये आपके पास ना 90 डिग्री पे था फॉर एनी डायरेक्शन। वेक्टर्स कैन बी इन एनी डायरेक्शन, जरूरी तो नहीं है कि हमारे पास पैरेलल ही हो, एंटी पैरेलल हो या 90 डिग्री पे हो। सो फॉर एग्जांपल इफ any vector is in this direction, like this is your vector A and there is another vector that is your vector B, okay, this is your vector B, then these two vectors are uh, causing a resultant in between this all, yani it would be basically between this arc, ऐसे ही होगा ना, that vector will have a resultant। और हमें resultant कैसे find करना है? We will just draw a parallelogram. What do we call it? That parallelogram is a sort of basically four-sided triangle, sort of four-sided shape, ठीक है, something like this। अब आप इसी का रिजल्ट रेप्लिका यहाँ ड्रॉ कर दो, ठीक है, like this, replica of this black vector A, ठीक। Oh, wait. 2 and 2 4, so it should be in the 4 squares, like 2 and 2 4। so आपका कोई क्वेश्चन? yes,
Yes, sir.
okay, so this is basically the vector A now। अब आप देखो, what I have given you, I have given you an idea that this vector will be basically the entire mean in between this arc, but if you draw the replica of this blue vector here, you will be able to now, yes, I have a vector, I have a resultant exactly starting from the tail of first to the head of last। Method यही है, तो it means that this vector is in between that arc, in between these two vectors। so you people have a choice, and that choice means आप ये काम कर सकते हो, either use a smaller triangle, यानी any of the triangles, आप ये वाली triangle use कर लो, and just consider that these are the vectors which are basically ये आपका, ये आपके पास एक्चुअली वेक्टर नहीं था, बट आई हैव जस्ट शिफ्टेड दैट वेक्टर ऑन दिस साइड, ठीक है। इज इट क्लियर? दिस वाज बेसिकली अ वेक्टर, व्हाट इज और दैट वेक्टर इज बेसिकली जस्ट रिप्लेस्ड। अब आपका वेक्टर ए और बी ये हो गया। अब आप मुझे बताइए कि इफ आई अरेज दिस ऑल एज वेल, व्हाट डू यू थिंक? isn't it a right angle, sorry, isn't it a parallelogram?
It is sir.
Yes, sir.
ओके, अब आपने ना मुझे एक बात बतानी है जिस पे मुझे आपके साथ थोड़ा यानी डिस्कशन करनी है। दिस वाज एंगल थीटा, basically this was the angle between these two vectors, isn't it? This is the angle between these two vectors, and where is that angle formed? Over here, na?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so keep this thing in your mind that this is basically that angle which is formed with the horizontal। ये बात क्लियर हो गई? तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि what is this vector then? शाबाश.
Sir, on the other corner outside, above.
Isn't it 180 minus theta?
Yes, sir.
Is it not? देखो, this is your theta, this all, this one, and this entire line from this point to that point, that is according to the supplementary angle, this is 180 degree. So this is 180 minus theta. So for that purpose, remember one thing, please, that you have to use cosine rule. Okay, what you have to use cosine rule or cos rule. What is that? That is that this is the resultant, that square of resultant. किसी को पता है cosine rule क्या होता है? मैथ्स में पढ़ा है?
सर आज ही से इसने पढ़ा था.
Yes, sir.
क्या होता है? Yeah, this is the cosine rule. So use plus here, and I will just give you a shortcut for this. Cos of angle between two vectors. ठीक है, बस ये वाला रूल आपने याद रखना है. So if I say that this is the angle between these two vectors, so I will put it theta, or I will put it 180 minus theta. So that will give me the solution. ठीक है, तो let's say one vector was your 10, second vector is also your 10. Okay, and I want to find the resultant. So at which angle these two vectors should be placed? So 2 into 10 into 10 into cos of theta. Okay, yes, करिए जरा calculations. It would be 100 is equals to 100 plus 100, I mean 200 plus 200 cos theta. तो ये 100 इधर चला गया. So 100 is equals to 200 cos of theta, and from here you can say that cos of theta is equals to 0.5. तो जरा cos inverse लेंगे 0.5 का.
60, sir.
And if it would be negative 0.5, then आपको एक मजे की बात समझानी है. Basically 120, isn't it?
120 sir. It's gonna be double.
Yes, exactly. So for positive it is 120, but if you have cos inverse of negative theta, then it would be yani negative you can say 0.5. तो आपका आंसर क्या हो जाएगा? It would be 120 degree. So it means कि आप देखो, this vector, if you keep the theta between the vectors, it is basically what? It is the external angle, na? Exterior angle of the triangle. थोड़ा सा थोड़ा मैथ्स लगेगा यहाँ पे बस. ठीक है, जब आप एक्सटीरियर एंगल लगाओगे तो दिस साइन वुड बिकम नेगेटिव. प्लीज कीप दिस पॉइंट इन योर माइंड. और जब आप इंटीरियर एंगल लगाओगे, मैं यहाँ पे इसको 2 पॉइंट्स में क्लियर कर देता हूँ. इट मींस कि आपका ये वाला जो एंगल था ना, दिस वन वाज 90 डिग्री. दिस एंगल सॉरी दिस वाज माइनस. सो व्हेन इट वाज माइनस, तो आपके पास ये वाला साइन क्या हो गया? नाउ यू गॉट दिस साइन माइनस. सो नेगेटिव ऑफ दिस you got 120. Actually, when two forces are placed at 120 degree from each other, तो वो बेसिकली आपके पास क्या करती हैं? दे मेक दैट एंगल ऑफ सॉरी दे गिव द रिजल्टेंट इक्वल टू द सेम. अब आप देखो, द फोर्सेस आर सेम. व्हेन द फोर्सेस आर सेम, यू कैन से दैट ओके, लेट्स से दिस फोर्स इज ऑफ 3 न्यूटन या 30 न्यूटन, व्हाटएवर दैट इज, एंड दिस फोर्स इज acting at the other force are acting with the other force at the same angle, sorry, 120 degree angle, let's say this is 120 degree angle, then I would draw their resultant. Parallelogram draw karenge, and once I will draw the parallelogram here, I will just you know, draw the replica of this vector back on the head of first one. इसको उठाया, मैं यहाँ लेकर गया, ठीक है। अब आप देखो, once it is done, अब आपके पास resultant would be like this. This is the resultant. So these three vectors are in the same, sorry, they are of the same magnitude. ये भी आपके पास let's say whatever that is, it is just a general rule. If two vectors are at 120 degree, now this is 120 degree. So what will happen? Then they would create a resultant which would also be equal to the same. ये just generally आपने एक बात याद रखनी है कि this is a simple rule जो आप कोसाइन से कर सकते हो, but it's not mandatory कि you have to use the cosine. तो simple form में I'm just going to mention 2 points कि अगर आपने resultant find करना है तो resultant square is equals to a square plus b square plus cos of angle in front of resultant, in front of r. तो सॉरी, यहाँ पे एक छोटी सी मिस्टेक हो गई, प्लस 2ab, ओके, प्लस 2ab था ना पहले ही, तो आई जस्ट मिस दैट, सॉरी फॉर दैट। प्लस का 2ab cos लगेगा, cos of the angle in front of ab cos of angle, yes. और अगर आप क्या कर रहे हो कि if you are going to find the resultant in this way, a square plus b square, you will take minus 2ab cos of the angle between the vectors, angle between the vectors. So this is basically the game you have to recall from today's lecture. ठीक है, तो क्लियर है सबको? Okay, inshallah next lecture mein we will talk about the resolving of the vectors, and then I would shift to the static equilibrium of the vectors, like जिसमें हम लोग बात करेंगे कि हम लोग vectors का vector sum निकालते हैं and all that stuff. So I hope that it would be very clear to you. ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, उमर?
सर मेरा एक सवाल था आपसे।
Yes, बोलिए।
आप इतना अच्छा कैसे पढ़ा लेते हैं?